Okay, it's a continuation of the previous topic, and it will deal with the design of free time signals. We have three types of signals. In these slides, we'll be only talking about design of free time signals in terms of calculation, but the methods are applicable to all types of signals. Okay, signal design process has three steps. The first step is to determine the phasing plan and its sequence. Okay, second step is to calculate signal timings, and third step is to check for pedestrians. Okay, in the first step, you decide which movements could go together in one phase and what will be their order or sequence. So, for example, you may decide that uh, this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you may decide that these two movements will go together, and this one will go in the next phase. So you can decide these two movements will go together. So this will become one phase, the two straights and the two lefts will become the other phase. Okay, and then you have to decide which one will go before the other one. Okay, so this is about the phasing plan. The second one is to calculate the vehicle timings. In the vehicle timings, we start with the common timings, which are yellow and all red, meaning change and clearance interval. Yellow is called change and all red is called clearance interval. And their calculation only depends upon the speed of the road and the size of the intersection. Okay, it does not depend upon the volume, so that's why we calculate it first. Now we move on to the volume. Every phase must have a critical lane, meaning the lane which needs more time. So in every phase you will see how many lanes are there and which of them should be critical, and then you will find out the volume of that critical lane. So for example, I may have 2-3 lanes here. Okay, one of them will be critical and I will pick the volume from that lane. Okay, once you have found it for each phase, then you will add all the critical lane volumes together to find out the total. Once you have the total, now you will move on to the calculation of the lost time. The first step, the first activity of this step, you already calculate the clearance lost time. Okay, and then you will also find out the startup lost time. You will add them together. You will have lost time for every phase, and then you will add the lost time of all the phases to have the lost time of the complete cycle. After this step, you can calculate the cycle length. Before this step, calculation of cycle length is not possible because you do not have the required data. Once you calculated the cycle length is the total time. From the total time, you subtract the lost time, you will get total effective green time. Then you will divide the effective green time into the available phases, and this division should be according to the critical lane volume. Okay, the critical lane volume, the side which has more critical lane volume should get more of the respective green time. So this is the end of the second step, in which we have calculated the timing of all signal lights. The third step is to calculate or to check the signal timing for pedestrian requirements. The first activity is to find out how much time the pedestrian will need to cross. The second activity is to compare this time with the signal timing which we already calculated previously. And the third step, if required, is to adjust the signal timing if your signal timing was less than the pedestrian requirement time. Okay, so the last step is only required if the signal time is less than the pedestrian required time. Otherwise, you will just leave it there. In the phasing plan, there is no fixed equation. We have to normally decide upon it manually because it's related to planning and strategy. Even if the software gives you some options, you still have to verify it manually. So in the phasing plan, we keep few things in our mind. The first thing is the safety aspect. For example, I showed you this one and this one can go together. Okay, but this straight cannot go. This straight cannot go with this left turn. Okay, because it will conflict with each other. This one and this one cannot go together, it will conflict with each other. So the first guideline for phasing plan is to not allow any conflicting movements to go together. The second step is to, or the second guideline is to look at the local standards and criteria. For example, in Bahrain uh, we have right hand side drive, and European countries may have left hand side drive. So the rules which you apply to left hand side here in Bahrain may apply to right hand side in other countries. So you have to keep this in mind. You have to follow the local criteria and rules and regulations. The third thing is you have to design the intersection according to the phasing plan you have decided. So for example, you decide that I will have one phase for this and left turn both will be going in the same time. So in this case, if you do it from the same lane, there's no problem. But if you decide that this one and this one will have two different phases, then the left turning must be a separate lane. You cannot have two movements from the same lane which are going in different times. So you will need an extra lane. If the speed is too high, then you have to provide a median here as well, a traffic island. Okay, and then obviously you have to put some marking on the pavement to show that this is a lane for left turning. So you can see and again I need a separate signal with the arrow here to show the drivers when they are supposed to take the left turn. So you can see just by changing the phasing of left turning, I have to provide an island, I have to provide a marking, I have to provide a separate signal. So all this should follow the phasing plan. So you have to keep in mind that phasing plan will affect the volume as well. Okay, when you have decided the phasing plan, you can draw two types of diagrams to show the phasing plan. One is called the phase diagram, the other one is called the ring diagram. In the phase diagram, you can see movements from different directions are shown together in the same box. In the ring diagram, these movements for the same signal are shown separately. Okay, so this is a ring diagram. Ring diagram is more commonly used than the phase diagram. Phase diagram is normally seen with the softwares. So in the phase diagram, all movements irrespective of their direction from the same phase are shown together. In the ring diagram, movements even if they are happening in the same phase but from different sides will be shown separately. And since they are happening on different sides, so each side is called a face of the signal. Okay, so in a ring diagram, the movements are divided into different faces, not phases. Okay, in a phase diagram, movements are divided into phases. In a ring diagram, the movements are divided into faces, meaning sides. Okay, direction, sides. Okay, this is the notation we follow for showing the movements. The arrow direction shows the movement direction. Then you see the arrows can be from the same line or from different lines. So arrows from the same line means the same lane. So these three movements are from the same lane. This one is from a separate lane and these two are from the same lane. Okay, so you have to, if the movements are from the same lane, you will show it with the same line and arrows going in different directions. Then you see some of the arrows are dotted and some of them are solid. Solid are called as protected and dotted are called as permitted. Okay, what is the difference between them? If you have a protected movement like this one, so this movement will go when the signal is green, and that means that other directions, conflicting directions, will have red for sure. But in permitted movement like this one, then the movement will happen on chance. So a driver will come, he will stay here and he will take the movement or he will take the turn when the chance is there, when the other side is clear, and it has nothing to do with the signal. Okay, so permitted is on chance and the protected is by signal. Okay, so I've already explained this one, phasing and ring diagram, the phase and the ring diagram. You can see the effect of left turn in this particular case. So there you can see the left turning phase is separate. So you can see the left turning lanes are here as well, okay, to support the left turning phase. And then you have the signal which has a pedestrian phase. So pedestrian movements are not shown with any arrow. So if you see this box, it has no arrow. So what is happening here? No arrow means no vehicle movement, but the pedestrian movement is happening, and it can happen in all directions because the vehicle movements are blocked.